ESTPs. Barbarians. Barbarians do not mess around. They hunt the opponent's king from the beginning to the end of the game. They are attacking players who are willing to accept lots of risk, calculating complications, and dangers that make their opponents squirm. They ride an unstoppable wave of success when things go right. Barbarians aren't usually the type to offer draws, and their main goal is to create unusual and complicated situations on the board in which they can outcalculate their opponent. They create chaos, uncertainty, and carnage, trusting in their own ability to be more adaptable and win. ISTPs. The Assassin. Assassins are all about controlled aggression. They tend to play sharp openings and look to attack the opponent's king, but their attacks are not wild or careless. Everything is still governed by the objective demands of the position and exact calculation. Assassins tend to play against the pieces rather than against the opponent. They won't alter their own play to try to take advantage of the opponent's psychology. To them it is all business, and the opponent is just the victim of their brutal precision. INFJ. Anacondas. Anacondas may seem peaceful on the exterior, but they're always preparing something menacing. A deep positional squeeze, typical of the big snake. Anacondas usually reject obvious and direct play, and instead prefer to build up positional pressure. They tend to be very attached to their own ideas, almost to the point of seeming like the result of the game is secondary. But don't be fooled. Once an anaconda has you in their grip, you will be very lucky to escape. ENFJ. The Genius. Geniuses seem to decide their moves by pure divination. With little or no calculation, they decide where to put their pieces and then simply put them there. The genius just feels the pulse of the position. Their combinations are usually short, simple, but transform the game in a deadly way. The genius doesn't seek complications and thus draws quite a few games, but rarely loses. They play the game with a flow and ease that feels effortless. They are natural and organic in how they maneuver the board. ENTP. Escape artists. Escape artists like quiet, positional play, but somehow seem to end up in tense, nerve-wracking, and sharp struggles. Why does this happen? Well, because the escape artist, by threatening to grind their opponent down in quiet, positional ways, forces their opponent to counterattack, to sacrifice, to take risks. The escape artist often doesn't prevent their opponent's attack, but actually welcomes it and entices it. Then the complications and danger begin, and the escape artist's phenomenal calculating power comes to the forefront. They invite attack, conflict, disruption. They drag their opponents into murky terrain, knowing that they can outwit them. INTP. Mad scientists. Mad scientists believe in justice and principles in chess, and use passion and calculating ability to prove their theories. The mad scientist is capable of carrying out brilliant attacks, but will only do so when they believe it's the right, precise, and accurate way. They won't normally play speculatively. More often than not, the mad scientist is the one facing the attack, and they are more than willing to do that if they believe the attack is not objectively correct. Mad scientists are also experimenters, trying different ways to expand the horizons in chess. ISFJ. The Grinder. Grinders are players with an unassuming style that can hide just how intent they are on winning. They don't need to know opening theory to beat you. They don't need to have an advantage to beat you. They don't even need to have an equal position to beat you. Grinders have good positional skills and are usually most at home in endgames. They are attuned to their opponent's weaknesses, which they use against them. On the other hand, they often know their own strengths and limitations pretty objectively and will make great, practical decisions. It's hard to take advantage of the grinder's weaknesses, and you won't have much luck getting errors out of them by applying pressure. ESFJ. The Naturals. Naturals are well-rounded players who seek a healthy initiative. They follow their gut instead of constantly looking for exceptions to the rules of chess. They want balance and a sense of control. A natural seeks healthy openings and healthy positions. They don't usually win by trickery, but once they obtain an advantage, they are all but unstoppable. Naturals place a high value on harmony, remaining calm, and rarely getting into time pressure or uncontrollable situations. ENTJ. The Champion. Champions are great fighters who play for the attack, but don't like to take undue risks. Underneath it, they are emotional players, but they use those emotions strategically to increase the intensity of the game for themselves and their opponents. This gives them a massive force of personality and puts their opponent under great pressure. Deep, profound calculations that get to the heart of the position are their forte. Champions are universal players, and they won't go wild looking for a win if it isn't there. They are quite willing to play a quiet endgame if that is what the position demands. INTJ. Masterminds. Masterminds seek to master both their own emotions and impose their reality on the chessboard. A mastermind always seeks the right move, and believes that attacking is the right way, typically choosing sharp openings. Masterminds win with fantastically deep calculations, producing combinations which are deeply hidden in correctly built up positions. Masterminds thrive in complex positions, where their accurate calculating ability and iron nerves give them the advantage. ESFP, the romantic. Romantics are full of good ideas. These ideas might be either positional or attacking, but they're always unusual and unique. The romantic doesn't usually win by outcalculating their opponent, but rather finds some unexpected and unusual concept that their opponents didn't expect. Romantic players are very emotional and therefore can be very distraught when they lose, but their moodiness also means that when things are going well, they can be unstoppably brilliant. ESFP. Surgeons. Surgeons are tricky, practical players who make use of positional play to fight for a win in all cases. They don't typically gain big advantages early in the game, and sometimes even get worse positions, but the surgeon is clever and knows how to fight. With great poise under pressure and adaptability on the board, a surgeon will uncover every hidden resource available to bring the game to a favourable conclusion. ISTJ, the professional. Professionals are strategists who place a high value on the exactness of their game and rarely let their emotions get out of hand. Professionals like to keep things under control. They don't like to take undue risks, either by attacking the opponent or allowing themselves to be attacked. Instead, professionals like to exploit long-term weaknesses. While they deal with long-term, strategic and positional factors, they don't rely on vague, intuitive judgments. For the professional, chess is an exact, calculated science. ESTJ, the Prodigy. The Prodigy is the ultimate sportsman. Prodigies play aggressively and fight for the win from the beginning to the end, but place the highest value on maintaining emotional control and utilizing every opportunity that comes their way. Prodigies are not out to prove any kind of theory or to create great works of art on the board, although that often happens anyway. For prodigies, winning is everything, because winning is simply more fun. ENFP, the Magician. Magicians don't care too much if their play is objectively correct. They prefer to follow their intuition and fancy, creating complications and confusing their opponent. A magician sees chess as a creative art, and creative art cannot be held captive by stern and fixed principles. Magicians can calculate well, but they sometimes do so quickly and carelessly, using their calculation to support what their intuition tells them. Magicians enjoy the unusual and spectacular, and can often become bored by slow maneuvering. INFP. Technicians. Technicians are the quietest and calmest chess players, strategists who rarely attack directly and prefer to quietly exploit positional advantages. Technicians utilize their exceptional intuition to guide their positional play. Rarely losing control, they exploit almost invisible positional weaknesses to win in the endgame. Technicians do not like to take many risks, and therefore rarely lose, but also win less than more aggressive players. Allow me this checkmate by subscribing to the channel. It makes a huge difference to the video and the success of the channel overall. And if you would like to personally play me at chess, then join the Love Who Discord server and find me on there. The link for that is down below.